Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you. Thanks for joining in on a Monday evening. I'm sure we'll make this next 1 hour really special for you, considering the fact that we have a knowledge session and an amazing speaker. When we talk about a speaker, we think of somebody very knowledgeable and who will give us a lot of knowledge, insights into markets and so many things. Today, we have brought somebody who, of course, has the knowledge, content, and everything. Plus, he has a passion to speak, passion to connect, and of course, give knowledge and information in such beautiful way, which you can actually carry along with you and talk to your partners, clients, family, so many other people who will really like it and understand the most complex concepts in very beautiful way. Yes, we are talking about one gentleman whose name was there on the invitation card, Mr. Gaurav Khemka from SBI Mutual Fund, the most prestigious organization of Indian financial services. Gaurav comes in with almost 21 plus years of experience in the financial services, and of course, combining with the retail FMCG side of it, where he started his career with an organization earlier known as HLL. Now we all know it by HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited or Hindustan Liver Limited, and then moved to great exposure in two of the leading insurance companies, ICICI Lombard as well as Tata AIG. And he's been with SBI Mutual Fund for almost 16 plus years. Correct me, Gaurav, if it is. So 16 plus years, and he's played multiple roles on business front, knowledge front, and he's one of the most sought after person in SBI Mutual Fund to do any kind of public talk, especially whenever it is for larger crowd, intense crowd, people who want to understand it in simple way. He's a master of business administration in terms of certification, but he's master of making things really simple for all of us. I'm really excited to introduce Gaurav because I've heard him last time when I heard it was so very engaging that I thought, why not we all gain and benefit from his talk, his discussion on this very special topic, which generally remains in books. Let's understand this complex topic from Gaurav in reality or through this virtual video. Welcome, Gaurav, once again, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anjana Bhai, and thank you so much for the kind words. And I hope I come and deliver to the kind of expectations you have built up. So, good evening, everyone. Let us start and understand what do you mean by factor investing. So, the today's topic. Sorry, we cannot hear you, Anjana Bhai. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, so I've kept it on mute.
We still can't hear you. Sorry. Janabhai, we cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
But you can continue, Gaurav.
Oh, okay. I thought you were speaking to us. Thank you so very much and good evening, everyone. So the today's topic is factor investing. So people think that it is a very complicated subject. It is a complicated thing to understand. And it is only the evolved people who can explain this and can understand it. But in my opinion, I think it is one of the most simpler thing, and it is even simpler than the active managed funds which we are used to selling. So let us understand what is an active management funds and what is a factor funds means. So an active funds which we are selling on a day-to-day basis, like a large cap fund or a mid cap fund, small cap fund, a fund which we have grown up selling for last 20-25 years in the industry. So those are managed by the fund managers, and we call it an active fund manager, active funds. So what does a fund manager do? So a fund manager, while constructing a portfolio, makes a portfolio on the basis of the stocks which he think will go up in the future. कल को पैसा इसका भाव बढ़ेगा, so he will take particular that. Then once he decides on the various different ways he can construct a portfolio. It can be a bottom up, it can be a top down. So what do you mean by top down or a bottom up stock thing? Top down means first he decides on the weightages on the large cap, mid cap, small cap, and then he comes down. He decides the sector weight, and then he decides the stock which he needs to fulfill in order to get that weight. And then he does it on the basis of whether it can be large cap, mid cap, small cap, or it can be a thematic, a particular sector like a pharma, consumer, healthcare, industry, infrastructure, manufacturing, energy, renewables. So it can be a particular sector, it can be a well-diversified. In a well-diversified, it can be a cap agnostic. What I mean by cap agnostic means it is irrespective of large, mid, or small, anything can happen. So what are the traditional? It is totally biased portfolio because a fund manager makes a portfolio as per what he thinks is right in the equity market. So there is a lot of thesis which works on an equity market. There is not one thesis which everyone follow while doing a market research or while making a portfolio. I'll give you a lot of examples to explain this. So in our SBI funds management team, so we have the largest investment team. We have an investment team of 73 people. By far, we are the largest. But when you talk to 8 different fund managers of SBI, you will find that there are different biases which has come into those 8 funds. I tell you how. So we had Sohini with us. She just recently left us, but for 10 years she was with us. So Sohini, when she used to make a portfolio, she ensured that it has only quality stocks. What do you mean by quality stocks? Quality stocks are those kind of stocks which are very strong in the nature, means they have a very strong balance sheet. They have almost zero debt, very low debt to equity portion. And they don't have a cyclical cash flows. When रोज का रोज cash flows आता है, they don't have a problem of cash flows. They have huge reserves. They have their own R&D department. So in whichever way you want to see the company, so you call it very quality portfolio. So for example, of a quality portfolio will be a stock like Colgate, a stock like Unilever, a stock like Gillette, a stock like Sun Pharma, Abbott. So all these companies are like, they are zero debt companies almost. They have no debt into it. They have a steady cash flows. They have a market share of over 50%. Most of them will have a market share of 50% to 80%. So these are very, very rock solid companies. Whereas now you talk to Vasan, he will like quality stocks again. And when you talk about Bala, he will like only value stock. But what is a value stock? Value stock is nothing but those kind of stocks which are less today trading less than the intrinsic value. So for example, Bank of Baroda intrinsic value should be 90 rupees. कि Bank of Baroda एक 90 रुपया का stock है, उसका होना चाहिए भाव 90 रुपया. If he is getting at 50 rupees, Bala will be going ahead and will take that particular thing. But if I come down to Vasan, he will say that 90 rupees का stock है, but Bank of Baroda kachada stock है, I will not take. So there the human biases comes, and a particular fund manager will have always a biases and make that portfolio accordingly. So I'll give you an example. So from 2016 to 2020, Prashant Jain, I'm just giving you an example. Prashant Jain also was managing HDFC funds. So HDFC was hugely underperforming those time. Why it was underperforming? It was, what happened was, he truly believed that there are a lot of value stocks and they're very expensive stocks. So let me not make a portfolio of expensive stocks, but let me make a stock which is dead cheap. Like SBI Bank was trading at 180 rupees, 200 rupees, and he thought that SBI is dead cheap. He thought of utility stocks, he thought of PSU banking stocks, he thought of PSU energy stocks, and they were far, far below the value. And he said these will come up one day. And if the price discover happens, these stocks should become 3 to 4 times. But he was not worried about the short term. He said, even if the cycle plays after 4 years, I'm okay. But is the investor okay with that kind of a style? The question comes. So what happens in a traditional investing? I'm just talking of the traditional investing as of now. So in a traditional investing, every fund managers we have seen, like Madhusudan Kila was a fantastic fund manager. And when he was running, his knack was into small cap. Today, R. Srinivasan is the best in the industry. So R. Srinivasan, nobody can beat him in the small cap stock picking ability. So Pankaj Tibdewala was there in Kotak. So all these fund managers, when I'm talking of, they had some other particular strengths. And then some of the strengths played and some of the time it doesn't play. Why doesn't it play? Because at all the point of time, not the value will perform or always the quality performs or all the small cap performs. It doesn't happen. So this entire traditional investing, what happens is a rule-based it is driven by a person individual only at the end of the day. So I understand with the market knowledge, मधुसूदन केला है तो कैसा पोर्टफोलियो होगा, पंकज टिबड़े वाला कैसा पोर्टफोलियो होगा, वासन how the portfolio will be, Bala Sohini how the portfolio will be. So they all had individual biases and they construct the portfolio accordingly, and they have huge success also. But now what is happening is things are changing. We are also getting a new set of funds. This is new in India, but it is very well accepted and running for over 30-40 years in US. So in a developed market where US is today, it is not a factor funds, or you call it as a smart beta product. So a factor fund or a smart beta is the same. So कोई difference नहीं है between smart beta and factor funds. After the index fund, the second highest funds which are sold in US is the factor funds. So what is a factor fund and what is a fund manager, the traditional which we have been selling? Now I have explained that. Now I'll come down to the factor investing. A factor investing can be one factor, two factors, or multiple factors. So you have different options to make a fund with either one factor you take it, either you take two factors, or you take 3, 4, 5, 6 factors. So there is no limit to it. So you have to understand how many factors you want to build in while making a portfolio. In a factor fund, what happens is no human individual biases comes. वहाँ पे जो वासन बोला वही चला, जो प्रशांत जैन बोला वहाँ चला. 4 साल रिटर्न नहीं दिया, he did not change this portfolio. He was sticking to his policy. He believed in that it will give one day return, and he stuck to it. वासन के ऊपर इतना प्रेशर है, फोकस्ड इक्विटी का पोर्टफोलियो चेंज करो, रिटर्न लाओ शॉर्ट टर्म में, he is not doing anything. He believes that the quality will deliver. Last 2 years we have underperformed, but that is the nature of the fund. The third year it will outperform it. Here what happens is there is no individual biases comes. Understand this. There is no human individual biases comes. What happens is here a rule-based formula is been put. एक formula आपने डाल दिया, and the portfolio will be built as per the mathematics formula. So जो logic आपने build कर दिया, there will be no deviation. आपकी बीवी को कौन सा आइसक्रीम पसंद है, आपको कौन सा आइसक्रीम पसंद है, बच्चों को कौन सा आइसक्रीम पसंद है, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. हम लोग एक रूल बना लिया फैमिली का, मैथमेटिक्स का, प्रोबेबिलिटी का, एंड वील आस्क दैट वो रूल जो बोलेगा the entire family will abide to it, irrespective of anything. So a factor thing is, what is a factor? Let us understand first. Factor is nothing but a characteristics of a stocks, which is common characteristics which a common set of stocks have. Those are called factors. So a factor can be, momentum can be a factor. So what is a momentum as a factor means? Momentum means जिस stock में भी तेजी है, which people all who are into direct stock trading on a daily basis, they all chase momentum stocks. कि ये stocks चल रहा है, इसमें चढ़ जाओ, ये बस कहीं ना कहीं जा रही है, हम लोग भी इस बस में बैठ जाएंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं पहुंच जाएंगे. कहाँ जा रही है हमको नहीं पता. So the bus has started from Churchgate and it is going very fast. The bus is going extremely fast. And one day I think it will reach either Borivali or Mira Road, or it will reach Delhi. I don't know. But let me sit into this bus. People are going distance, sitting in this bus. If I don't sit in this bus, I will miss out. So momentum is like most of the stocks which are at 52 weeks high, or which is creating new highs, or some announcement has come because of it, and the stock prices is going up on a daily basis. So all these stocks which are going like 3-6 महीना तक वो stock में तेजी चलता है, and the price goes up drastically. So Honeywell, if I give you an example, it was at 36,000 rupees and there was a momentum, it went all the way to 56,000. Most of the people get into it. Then वो 56,000 से वो नीचे भी आ गया. That is a separate thing. So momentum is nothing but nearly 52 weeks high, and the stock prices is going up. And the trend shows that in next 1 year or 2 years, the stock will continue to go up drastically and very fast. So those are known as momentum stocks. Like for example, like 3 years, Colgate did not move anywhere. It was at 1450. Colgate कहीं चल ही नहीं रहा, तो 1450 में सबने उसको write off कर दिया और बोला फालतू कंपनी है, and people sold that stock. And then from 1450 rupees to 4,000 rupees in 14 months, it kept on going up. 1450, 1500, 1800, 2000, 2400, 38, 3,000 में लोगों बोला बहुत महंगा हो गया, 3,200, 3,600, 3,800 रुपया. So these are called momentum stock at that point of time. But it's a very quality stock also. So stock can be quality, at the same time it can be momentum also. So this is what I mean by momentum first. The second is value. Value मैंने आपको समझाया था अभी बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा का एग्जांपल लेके, कोई भी स्टॉक उसका अपने इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू से सस्ता है आज. फॉर सम अदर रीजंस पीपल आर नॉट लुकिंग. A company like Coal India, it is a value stock. It is a fantastic stock. It has not moved anywhere, and it is the price what it should be of that particular stock आज उसके नीचे मिल रहा है. A stock like Kotak Mahindra Bank, last 4 years it did not give you any return. Where people made 3 times return in last 4 years, Kotak Bank or HDFC Bank has not moved anywhere. So it becomes a value stock. Why it becomes a value stock means उसका भाव actually X होना चाहिए, but because of some other reasons, the price is not that thing. And it is available today at less than the intrinsic value. Castrol, fantastic company. So company, people think that EV will come over, that normal engine, combustion engine will go away, and people will not use engine oils in future, and Castrol will finish. That is a story which people had. So the Castrol prices did not move for 5 years. And then suddenly from a very expensive MNC good quality stock, it became a value stock. Value stock is nothing but it is the price is less. The third can be for quality, I have already explained you. And then it is something called growth stocks. So growth stock is where the company is growing, the products is growing, they're increasing their product lines, they're increasing their earnings. So we are seeing the earnings which is coming in. Okay, sales is going up. There's always upgrades. They are doing research and development. They are coming with new products, and that new products will also take over the market in a couple of months, or they have just launched it. So all this comes under the growth fund. So we have a lot of things. You can have a factor like a low volatility factor. What is a low volatility factor? Is low volatility factor means वो stock में volatility आपको नहीं मिलेगा. So people who suffers from heart attack or who have gone through an angioplasty should get into that kind of a low volatility particular factors, where the stock will not go 56,000 also like Honeywell, and it will not come down to 39,000 in less than 2 months. So वैसा momentum जैसा वो खेले नहीं खेलेगा. So it will not be like an Adani stock. Like Adani Green, one day it goes 22% up. The another day US comes with a report, it comes by 20% down. Another day the government gives a clearance, it goes up by 25% up. So these are very high volatility stocks. Small cap will get a lot of where the promoter sells their own shares, and there are a lot of driven companies which are not good quality stocks. So you will get a lot of high volatility stocks. So you have a factor, you say low volatility stocks. So you can combine various factors and make a portfolio. In this particular factor, what happens is you just have to put the stock name into that software, and the software calculates all the data. So what is the PE, what is the price to book, what is their earnings, what was their last quarter earnings, what are the debt to equity ratio, what there should be the intrinsic value, what is their current value, how much the stock is priced, how much last 3 years, what has happened, how much the competition has done. So there are n number of data with system. And then we want the system to run it automatically by itself. And when the system runs automatically by itself, then you can put up a filter into that and ask which factor this particular fund scores. So each fund can be ranked on all the factors. For example, if I take a company like Colgate, it will be very high in quality. It will be very high in momentum. It will no more a value today, and it is a growth stock. But how much momentum and how much quality, the degree of it will change. So if it is in a quality, there is no question that it will come in the top 10 stocks of India. Whether it is momentum, till a month till September 23, it was in the top of the momentum also. So it will come in the top 15 stocks. Today in momentum, it will be probably in the top 50 rank out of the 200 stocks. If I come down to growth, it is coming with a lot of growth. They are coming with a lot of stuff. Why it is growth also? Colgate, I'll just give you an example. We all know Colgate for a toothpaste. Now they are just not a toothpaste company. They're coming with a hand sanitizer. What is happening is, with people income level going up, जैसे जैसे हम लोगों का per capita income बढ़ रहा है, our affordability has also started going up. With affordability, what has happened is our power to purchase has gone up. So what we are going is, we are going for premiumization. आज 4 लाख की स्विफ्ट नहीं बिकती है, 6 लाख की स्विफ्ट नहीं बिकती है, बट 15 लाख की गाड़ी ओवरनाइट बिक जाती है. सो 15 लाख 20 लाख का क्रेटा अगर लॉन्च करेगा Hyundai तो 6 महीने का वेटिंग आ जाता है. महिंद्रा का 15 लाख का गाड़ी आएगा तो फटाक से वेटिंग आ जाएगा. बट आप 3 लाख रुपए का गाड़ी या 4 लाख रुपए की गाड़ी लाओ, कोई उसको लेने वाला नहीं है. सो इंडिया वांट्स प्रीमियमाइजेशन. मेरे पास पैसा आया, I want premium products. So Colgate is getting into a premiumization. I was just speaking to Aditya, my colleague, he's my senior colleague, and I said Gillette. We all know a Gillette razor costs 400 rupees. And it comes with a blade, वो Mac 5, Mac 3 जो भी ले लो, 125 रुपया का, 125 रुपया का आता है, और 400 रुपया का razor आता है. Today Gillette has launched something called, I forgot the name in which they have launched it, but the razor costs 1500 rupees and it is a fantastic blade. The blade itself costs you 500, 600 rupees per blade. But mind you, instead of a week, that blade will continue for 3 months. So this is called a growth stock. Why it will be coming under growth? They are launching new products. They have a new product pipeline. They have a new distribution systems also, and they will make the most of it. So you have different factors. On different factors, you can qualify stocks. अभी आपको फंड मैनेजर की जरूरत नहीं है. Once you decide कि मुझे ये 2 फैक्टर को लेके फंड्स बनाना है. So whoever is very high on momentum, let me make a portfolios. We call it as a single factor portfolios. In a single factor portfolio, what we do is, हम खाली बोला momentum stocks लेंगे. So what we are doing is we filter on momentum and then we rank it, which are the stocks which are going up. So in a newspaper also you see that 5 days continuously stocks which are going up, 5 days with the stock which is continuously going down, stocks which are making continuously 52 days high every day. So those kind of stocks will come into momentum. Means momentum hai. You just put into momentum, they will give you a list out of all the data the machine will capture. They'll give you a list, just rank them and take the top 30 stock, top 20 stock and make a portfolio out of it. There is no human intervention. अब वासन को अच्छा लगे, बाला को अच्छा लगता है कि नहीं लगता है, सोनी को अच्छा लगता है कि नहीं लगता है, मधुसूदन केला हो या कोई भी फंड मैनेजर हो, it doesn't make any difference now. It is a rule based thing that we have made one single factor, one momentum. We took 20 stock of momentum. When it stocks, वो भागेगा, वो नहीं चलेगा, वो गिरेगा for stocks. So we have a single factor. So the India we don't have much of these factor funds. In last 2 years only the funds have come. So it is very difficult to talk about Indian perspective में factor funds. But if I have to talk on the US perspective wise, I can tell you, I can assure you that a single factor fund is easily being beaten by the active fund managers fund. So active fund manager जो funds manage करते हैं, जो हम लोग जो आज तक बेचते आ रहे हैं, 20-25 स्टॉक्स का, 40 स्टॉक का पोर्टफोलियो, लार्ज कैप, मिड कैप, स्मॉल कैप वाला, बॉटम अप स्टॉक पिकिंग्स, ये वाला सिंगल फैक्टर को बीट कर देता है. बिकॉज सिंगल फैक्टर क्या होता है, 2 साल चलता है, इट वर्क्स फॉर 2 years, इट वर्क्स फॉर 1 year, then it has a lean period of 3 years, it does not perform, then again 2 years, again 3 years, it has a lean period. And these days the new generation does not understand, they don't have patience. आज सुबह डाला और कल सुबह 40% NAV नहीं बढ़ा एक दिन के अंदर, तो वो बोलते हैं यार बॉस ये फंड में पैसा नहीं डालना. Yesterday I met a girl, okay, डेट पे नहीं गया था, just met a girl on a lunch and she said, Gaurav, I have very little money to invest, I'll give you 1 lakh rupees. How much will you make it for me in next 3 months? Imagine the question that she wants to invest into equity. She wants to put 1 lakh rupees and she says 3 महीने में मेरे को पैसा बना दो. हम लोग तुझे कितना पैसा चाहिए? 20-25 लाख रुपए तो बना देना. Since you are so good, तो 20-25 लाख, अरे 3 months में 1 लाख का 20 लाख. Look at the imagination of the people, what they are thinking. Last 3 years they made 40% CAGR, 35% CAGR. Is it replicable? No. Will it sustain it? The answer is no. ये पूरा का पूरा स्लो डाउन कहीं ना कहीं होगा. So all these things, what will happen is catch up. So मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? But when we talk about the US funds, we have seen that the multiple factor, when you have 4 factors, okay, so कोई ना कोई factor तो चलेगा. So either momentum will work, either the value works, either the quality works, either the growth works. So one factor works. So what does it do is that one factor, when it works, it just pulls away the returns. So that it carries away the weight of the other three underperforming. So एक winner हमेशा हमारे पास होना चाहिए. So he said if we have 4 people, अर्जुन भी हो गया मेरे पास, कृष्णा भी हो गया मेरे पास, और मेरे पास वो युधिष्ठिर हो गया और भीम हो गया. तो भीम गधे से मार देगा सबको को पावर से, बाय sheer power. Arjun will kill the people with because of his skills on the bow and arrow, and Krishna will kill people not picking up anything but because of the strategy he uses. अश्वत्थामा मर गया, अभी हाथी मारा क्या इंसान मारा, उसने ट्रुथ नहीं बोला. He won that game by strategy without picking anything. Krishna won the game by picking up the strategy. So he said when we have 4 people, so either one of them will take the battle and we will win. As the overall the entire war will win it. Okay, so we are saying in a multiple factor how it helps outperforming is कि पहले के बच्चे क्यों माँ बाप लोग 6 बच्चे करते थे, एक कपूत निकल गया, 2 कमाया नहीं, तीसरा तो कोई बिरला का बेटा बन जाएगा, माने बिरला के यहाँ ब्याह दे देंगे, किसी को कहीं पे ज्यादा शादी कर देंगे दहेज लेके, या कोई वो इंटेलिजेंट निकल जाएगा. तो 5 बच्चे हैं, 2 कमाते नहीं है, 3 कमा लिया, तो अपना रिस्क डाइवर्सिफाइड करते थे कि पहले के पेरेंट्स. आजकल तो अफोर्ड ही नहीं कर सकते, इसलिए पेरेंट्स बच्चे ही नहीं करते, बट पहले क्या करते थे, वो डाइवर्सिफाई कर देते थे. सो इन मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स व्हाट हैपेंस इज either one of the factor always outperform, always. You don't know which and you don't know when. So if you have all 4 in your bouquet, you are assured एक तो विनर है मेरे पास, ये 4 पत्ती में एक इक्का है, तो कोई ना कोई तो मुझे गेम जिता देगा ये, and I will make money out of it. So the idea of factor fund investing in US, if you see, it has beaten most of the active funds, क्योंकि वहां पे एक्चुअली जो फंड मैनेजर का इंडिविजुअल बाइसेस आ जाता है ना, उसके कारण बहुत बार होता है लीन पीरियड चला जाता है, and people come out of that lean period. I'll give you a classic example. Prashant Jain was not wrong when he took those value stocks. He knew the stock will become 3 times, 4 times. And what happened is people just lost faith on him and they redeemed from that fund. And eventually it moved after 6 years, but it moved. He was proved right. And then he left. Vasan, every 2 years, people tell him that ये बकवास है, he lost his golden touch. He lost his golden finger. जब वो focused underperform करता है. Again, another the third year, it outperforms everyone and he says, Vasan जैसा कोई fund manager ही नहीं है. So people lose patience in between and they come out of it and the investor doesn't make money. They always tend to see the last 3 years return which has worked and then they enter the fund. What happens is they enter at the peak of the fund. And the moment that next 2 years they will go for a lean period, और वो उस समय पैसा नहीं बनाता, वो बोलते यार तुमने क्या पैसा बनाया, मैं जिस फंड में पैसा डालता हूँ उसी में पैसे नहीं बनते. बट nobody sees the underperformance of last 3 years and then they put money. तो आज फोकस का कोई अंडर परफॉर्मेंस देखिए किसी का हिम्मत नहीं है पैसा डालने का, बट आप डालो, इट इज द क्वालिटी विच विल वर्क. लेट मी शेयर यू 2 data. Once I show you these 2 data and then I'll come back again. There, I just recently learned this, so I may go wrong. This is just, can you see the presentation? Can anyone just confirm me? Can you see the presentation? I assume you all can see the presentation. दिख रहा है क्या online?
No, Gaurav, we can't see your presentation. I think you need to share it again once, please.
Okay, just a sec, hold on. There. Windows. Now can you see it?
Yeah, just do Control L, that would do it. Yeah, perfect. So I just gave you an example. These are the 4 different movement factors. You can have either one of them also, you can have 2 also, you can have 4 also. So it depends upon the fund nature. They are working with 1 factor only or whether they want to work with 2 or 4 factors. So like momentum, I said it is near long-term 52 weeks high. Growth is earning growth, earning revisions, upgrades and the downgrades of the company. Value is less than the financial value or the intrinsic value. And the quality is like ratios like return on equity is very high, low debt company, cash flow, no cyclical, so on and so forth. So these are the 4 factors. And these are the factors which you can make a fund out of it.
Now, just let me show you some more data. Each factor has a very different standard deviation. What does the standard deviation tell you? Standard deviations tells you the risk of a factor. What does the standard deviation measures? Standard deviation measures risk. When we say 23% standard deviation, what does it mean? Your benchmark say 23%, it can go upward and it can go downward also. Both sides, upward and downward. That is standard deviation. So we see that there is a different standard deviation for different factors. For example, the momentum standard deviation is 21.4, whereas the value ka standard deviation is 27. Quality is only 19. They have the lowest standard deviation. And growth stocks will have a standard deviation of 22.8. And if I take the BSE 200 standard deviation, risk is 22. So more or less growth, momentum, and the index is all around 22. Quality has the lowest standard deviation 19, whereas value has the highest standard deviation. When it will work, nobody knows. चलेगा, सस्ता है stock, but return कब आएगा? It may take next 6 months also, it may take 5 years also. That is why, because of the nature of the portfolios or nature of the value stocks, the standard deviation becomes very high, because at times it does not move at all for 3 years or 4 years also. Now let us see what is the upside capture. What is the kind of a return which they have produced? Okay, so momentum has given 75. Value has given 210% compared to momentum 75. Quality is just 42 and growth is 131%. So these are the upside, these are the kind of a return which has generated. Now, if you see, if you have only momentum, the potential upside is only 75%. If you have only quality, the potential is only 42. But the moment you add value, it is 210. So the people says that the return is always a function of risk. What is the return? Return is always a function of risk. So value has the highest risk, whereas it has a potential to give the highest return as well. So it is all correlated. So if you want no risk, quality में घुस जाओ, MNC fund ले लो. It is a pure quality. SBI Global or any MNC which is there, it's all high quality stock. But ये एकदम low risk लेके आपको upside भी बहुत ज़्यादा high नहीं मिलेगा. Wealth creation कम होता है. So you need all. At different times you need growth also. At times you need value. And let us see this, why we need different times, different thing. I'll just give you an example. This chart explains it all. So we are showing you a chart which is giving you a data of last 13 years. From 2011 to 2023, M stands for momentum, V stands for value. I repeat, M stands for momentum, V stands for value. We are showing, अगर सेक्टर वेट में अगर पैसा डाला होता, आप लोगों को दिखाते हैं ना कैप वाइज, अगर हेल्थ केयर में डाला होता तो 3 साल 5 साल 10 साल में ये रिटर्न बनता, अगर फाइनेंशियल बैंकिंग में डाला होता तो 3, 5, 10 में ये बनता, एफएमसीजी में ये बनता. इंस्टेड ऑफ सेक्टर्स वी आर शोइंग फैक्टर्स, कि ये पर्टिकुलर फैक्टर्स के फंड में डाला होता, स्टॉक्स में डाला होता तो ये रिटर्न बनता. सो इन 2011 the highest return was given by momentum. 2012 is growth. Now comes 2013. What happened in 2013? Just before 2014, when Modi was about to come, and वो माहौल बन गया था, Modi is coming, India will change, India will do a lot of things, India will do make in India manufacturing, quality started performing. 2013, and it rally went till 2020, barring 2 years, 14 and 17. From 2013 to 2020, it was all over quality, 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 quality. यहाँ पे फोकस फंड इंडिया का सबसे अच्छा फंड बन गया था एसबीआई का. Suddenly what happened is COVID came and quality underperformed hugely. सबसे ज्यादा worst fund था, worst factor था quality. And 21-22, it was the values which started moving. Here you see 2021 and 2022, it was the return of value. But similarly, if I see 2019 value or 2020, it was the worst. तो 1920 यहाँ पे आपका प्रशांत जैन का अंडर परफॉर्मेंस था, कॉन्ट्रा का अंडर परफॉर्मेंस था, आईसीआईसीआई डिस्कवरी वैल्यू डिस्कवरी का अंडर परफॉर्मेंस था. यू सेड ये फंड बकवास हो गया. सडनली यू सेड 21-22 नहीं, ये बकवास नहीं है, ये अच्छा फंड है. Quality which did so well underperformed hugely in last 3 years. So any quality stocks hugely underperformed from 2021 to 2023. Now you tell me which fund shall I take? And now momentum, if I see momentum, 2018 to 2022, it was the 4 years that the momentum worked, except out of the 5 years, 4 years, it was the momentum which gave the second best return. But otherwise, momentum has not given anywhere returns. So momentum also has its own down cycles. 2023, 2024, momentum stocks underperform hugely. If I just make a factor fund with only one factor, so for example, value, or for example, only momentum, or if I take only quality. So what will happen in a 12 years time? I will make money 7 years, which will give me an average return of more than 12 years what other fund will make. But 5 years of underperformance, client will not stay away and they will get tired and they can move out. So the thing is that if you want consistent returns, जो linear returns खोज रहे हैं ना, like bank FD, हर साल 8%, हर साल 8%, कुछ भी चले मेरे को वो सब समझ में नहीं आता. इस साल क्वालिटी चला, वैल्यू नहीं चला, वैल्यू चलेगा अगला साल, मेरे को ये सब समझ में नहीं आता. 8% दिया गया तेरा पोर्टफोलियो. That is what a client asks you. Consistent return है क्या पोर्टफोलियो का? So the consistent return के लिए if I start taking multiple factors, if I have थोड़ा of all 4, what will happen is I will always have one winner in my portfolio, and that winner will always outperform and take it so big. So the question is, जब वो बढ़ता है तो वो कितना ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा रिटर्न बनाता है, और जब वो घटता है तो एक्चुअली वो नेगेटिव रिटर्न नहीं देता है, वो बेंचमार्क से 2-4% नीचे देगा, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि -20% रिटर्न दे देगा कोई आदमी. तो हो सकता है कि क्वालिटी डिलीवर्ड, वैल्यू डिलीवर्ड 200% and quality delivered only 40% return. But that did not mean quality pulled the portfolio down by -20%. That doesn't happen. It is only the difference, the degree, the variant, the degree कि कितने से ऊपर गया और कितने से नीचे आया. So the thing is, the positive side of a factor is, जब वो ऊपर जाता है ना, it goes so high that वो तीनों को pull कर लेता है उसका returns को. I'll just show you. If I show you an example of a multiple factor fund. I'm just showing you a multiple factor fund example. Now come down to May 2013. This is the point which I'm talking of. May 2013. So we were all, सबको भूल गए होंगे ये 2013 का मंदी. So 2011 to 2013 we had a very bad time in the market. So 2008 में खराब था. 2009-10 gave the pull in the market. And 2010 के बाद जब 2009 में गवर्नमेंट आया, 20% अपर सर्किट आया, 2010 में मंदी आया. 12 and 13 we were selling only dynamic bond fund and income fund and gilt fund. These were the only 3 funds which we were selling in 2013 and 12. So in 2013, at that point of time, for example, if we would have a fund with 25% each, 25% of quality, 25% of value, 25% of quality, and 25% of growth. Imagine this line, the dark blue line now, which I am showing you with the hand. The quality moved from 2023 to 2020, 2013 to 2020. In this 7 years, the quality performed 5 years that it took away all the other funds. अब ये 25% of the portfolio became 35% of the fund. But at the same time, value जो था उस समय नहीं चला. So value underperformed, and that is why the weight of this value came down to 17%. आपका यहाँ पे 25 का 35 हो गया quality, and value came from 25 to 17. Now imagine if I put up a filter and say जैसे 35 हो top हो या 17 bottom हो, I'll put up a filter कि इसको दोनों को book कर दो सबको और फिर से reset कर दो 25 पे. For example, if I put that kind of a filter and a logic. So 35 में क्या हुआ आपका? क्वालिटी एकदम पीक पे हम लोगों ने प्रॉफिट बुक कर दिया. सो 35 became 25, तो 10% हम लोगों ने क्वालिटी में बेच दिया माल और प्रॉफिट एकदम पीक पे बिक गया मेरा माल. एंड यहाँ पे 17 में मैंने एकदम कचड़े के भाव पे, जब वो नीचे कोई देख नहीं रहा था, मैंने सस्ते के भाव पे 17 को 25 पे ले गया. सो फ्रॉम 17 आई ब्रॉट इट डाउन टू 25, तो नीचे के भाव पे मैंने खरीद लिया. नाउ यू सी फ्रॉम 20 to 23 दिस वैल्यू जो खरीदा वो चल गया और जो क्वालिटी मैंने वो बेचा वो गिर गया. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस एसेट एलोकेशन, द फैक्टर एलोकेशन विच हैपेंड ऑटोमेटिकली, ये पूरा का पूरा फंड का ही रिटर्न बच गया. मैंने यहाँ पे 10% ऑफ द पोर्टफोलियो गिरने से बच गया और 10% अपना पोर्टफोलियो का पैसा वहां पे डाल दिया जो एकदम सस्ता था. और वो मेरे को आउट परफॉर्मेंस दे दिया, वो चल गया. तो विथ ऑल दिस कॉम्बिनेशन व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज हमारे पास दो बड़ा इशू होता है सबसे बड़ा लाइफ में, कि मैं टाइम क्या करूं, कब वैल्यू में घुसूं, कब क्वालिटी में घुसूं, कौन मुझे फंड मैनेजर वैसा क्लियर कॉल देगा, मुझे वैसा डेटा देखना आता है क्या, कैन आई गो राइट इन टाइमिंग इट, नंबर वन. The second problem is every time I switch, I will have a taxation issue. So 50 लाख रुपया क्लाइंट ने डाला 2020 में वैल्यू में, आज वो करीब करीब 1 करोड़ 80 लाख रुपया हो गया. आप क्लाइंट को बोलो अभी क्वालिटी में स्विच कर दो, वैल्यू का टाइम जा रहा है, क्वालिटी इज वेरी वैल्यू हैज बिकम वेरी एक्सपेंसिव. क्लाइंट बोलेगा 50 लाख का 180, 1 करोड़ 30 लाख पे 12%, मैंने 15 लाख रुपया मुझे टैक्स भरना होगा. और क्लाइंट का 8-10 करोड़ का पोर्टफोलियो और आप पूरा चर्न करते जाओगे एवरी टाइम, तो द क्लाइंट विल एंड अप पेइंग 20 lakhs to 30 lakh rupees as a tax. 30 लाख रुपया टैक्स भर दोगे क्लाइंट का, प्लस यू आर नॉट श्योर कि यू आर मेकिंग द राइट स्विच और नॉट. सो नीदर वी आर कंफ्यूज्ड कि टाइमिंग कैसे करूं, सेकंड मैं टैक्सेशन कैसे करूं. सो इन अ फैक्टर फंड व्हाट हैपेंस इज this problem is being transferred to the mathematics formula. So with mathematics formula, factor fund will automatically correct it. तो वो जैसे देखेगा बहुत एक्सपेंसिव हो गया, उसको बेच देगा वन फैक्टर में, और दूसरा फैक्टर जो बहुत सस्ता है हो गया तो उसमें स्विच कर देगा. तो विच वी आर नॉट एबल टू डू इट मैनुअली. हम तो एक क्लाइंट को मिला 10 साल पहले बेचा, उसको तो भूल ही गया मैंने क्या फंड बेचा था. अब वो 10 साल से बैठा है तो गुड, उसका नसीब बन गया, 10 साल में 6 साल उसका फंड चला. अभी क्या हो रहा है, 10 साल में वो रोज एक्टिवली क्लाइंट देख रहा है फंड, उसको स्विच करना है, उसका क्लाइंट को दोस्त बोल के जाता है अभी इसमें स्विच कर दो, उसमें स्विच कर दो. आप कब तक टाइमिंग करोगे और आप कब तक क्लाइंट को टैक्सेशन करोगे? इट इज नॉट ह्यूमनली पॉसिबल. तो इन ऑर्डर टू डिफीट दिस द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ टाइमिंग एंड टैक्सेशन, फैक्टर फंड्स कम इनटू प्ले, wherein the 4 factors में से the formula based automatically auto corrects. जैसे BAF, बैलेंस एडवांटेज फंड, आप लोग समझते हो, वो क्या करता है, इक्विटी, डेट और आर्बिट्रेज में ऊपर नीचे करता है. कभी 30% इक्विटी ले आता है, कभी 20% ले आ जाता है, कभी 90% 80% ले जाता है. So as per the equity valuation, it automatically happens. So you are rest assured in the mind कि it will automatically adjust whatever. I don't have to look at that portfolio of BAF. In this, what happens is, in a factor fund, auto resets keep happening, auto churns keep happening without any human interference. So equity में ही रहेगा, but between different types of factors which will work. So momentum is working, they will switch to momentum. Momentum is not working, they will take it out, they will put it into quality. Quality works and then value is very cheap, they will move to quality. So this automation switch is happening automatically without any human intervention, without any fund manager bias. So it is a logic, it is a mathematical formula, and the formula gets triggered and the answers comes to you. So you save on the client's portfolio review every 6 months, you don't have to do that. And you save on the client's taxation, you don't have to do that. So this is what about the factor fund is. If you have any questions related to it, so it is almost half an hour, 40 minutes I spoke on factor. I am ready and to take some questions if you are finding difficult to understand. Anybody? I don't know.
Yeah, hi Gaurav. So the mode is where our participants actually share the questions through a chat method. So we have received a couple of questions, but I must tell you almost 50% of the questions are already answered. So that's the good part of what you spoke about this in this knowledge session. But I'll still answer, raise few of the questions which probably will further.
You want me, sir, sorry to disturb you. Do you want me to continue and tell me what SBI is coming out with, or we take that later? First, we understand the factor, and then we speak about if there is a fund in India or there is no funds in India like this.
Yeah, so you continue, and then in the end, I'll take up these 4 questions which I have. Yeah.
Okay, so I just continue with that. So do we have a multiple factor fund? As of now, a pure multiple factor funds we don't have in India. Only Axis have it. Other than Axis, everyone have a single factor funds. So they're working only on single factor momentum. Most of the people have got momentum factor funds with them in the AMC. So the momentum was doing well in last 2 years. They all made money in last 2 years and they were showing fantastic return. And last September 24 correction to November 24, the momentum fell in the same speed. It went up with the elevator and it came down through window, down straight. So what happened is जितना तेजी से ऊपर गया उतना तेजी से नीचे आ गया. So that is why momentum now they started saying कि पहले तो अच्छा था बाद में खराब किया, because it's a single factor fund. Do we have 4 factor funds? Axis have it. But what is Axis doing is they are bringing human intervention into it. So पहले fund manager screen कर देता है और बोलता है ये stocks बकवास है, उसको हटा देता है. And then with the rest of the funds, what they say, the rest of the stocks, they say, let me put filters. So that is not the way it should be. SBI is just coming out with a new fund offer, SBI Quant Fund, which tells that we will be taking all 4 factors like momentum, growth, value, and quality. And we are saying that there is no absolutely human intervention. If the stock is that bad, why do you have to a fund manager come and put it aside? It will automatically get filtered into the formulas which you have put. तो फैक्टर ऑलरेडी उसको खराब करके हटा ही देगा. चलनी में अगर मोटा अदरक का दाना आ गया तो आपको अदरक चुन चुन के चाय के में से निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है. वो छान लोगे तो वो अपने आप अदरक ऊपर रह जाएगा, नीचे चाय आ जाएगा. So you don't have to do that. If a stock is good, it will automatically get filtered and get into the cup. And if it is bad, it will always stay at the top. It will not go into the cup only. So that is the theory. So we are the first, India's first fund where there will be no human intervention. I would just like to show you some sparkling kind of a returns which you can expect. कि आप बोलोगे ये सब factor funds तो समझ गया, परफॉर्मेंस में क्या इशू आया, मैंने परफॉर्मेंस कैसा आया, बहुत खराब आया, 19-20 ही था, आजू बाजू ही था, क्या था. So let us understand, we have been actually running this particular fund for last since 2016. So for last 8 years we are actually running this fund. But monopoly जैसा virtual money के साथ हम लोग खेल रहे थे इस पैसे को. Now this fund is real, which is live actually for last 8 years. Since 2016-2020 and last 10 years, we did back testing. From 2005 to 2016, we did back testing. तो 10 साल का बैक टेस्टिंग प्लस 8 साल का लाइव परफॉर्मेंस, 18 साल का हमारे पास पूरा रिटर्न है, which is actual. Okay, so with 18 years of thing, I'll show you some of the returns. So on a 3 years basis against the benchmark of 15%, it gave a performance of 22%, a 7% of outperformance where every single fund manager is struggling to meet even the benchmark today. On a 10 years basis, it is 14% and 19%, a whooping 5% compounding over the benchmark over 10 years. ये mid cap and small cap return देता है 10 साल में 18%, large cap कभी नहीं देता है. But with large cap portfolio, 75% of a portfolio, we are able to deliver 10 years में 19% return because of the perfect timing which is happening automatically behind the scene, which we are not able to see. Now look at that 3 years rolling return. आप बोलोगे उसमें point to point return आएगा. Gaurav, show me the rolling return. Let us understand the rolling return. हम लोग client को क्या बोल के बेचते हैं? 12% and above. तो 12% and above, BSE 200 gave 59%, whereas a factor fund gives you 77% time above 12%. 77, 4/5, 80% time आपका 12 से ऊपर आया. What you should also notice, above 15%, where it is only 40% in the index, this gives you 67%. माने 2/3 of the time. हर 3 साल में 2 साल आपको 15% से ऊपर रिटर्न मिल रहा है. So which is huge. 5 years rolling return is again the same way. It is 63%, 83%, but above 15%, whereas only 36%, माने 1/3 of the time, it goes to 70% of the time fund being able to deliver above 15%. जहां आप 35% टाइम कर रहे हो क्योंकि वो 4 साल का अंडर परफॉर्मेंस में बैठे रहते हो और वहां पे आपका टाइम चला जाता है और परफॉर्मेंस चला जाता है. वो टाइमिंग करने के कारण 35% of the time above 15% की जगह it comes down to 70% of the time, which is 15% and above. What else do you want? That 70% of the time you are telling your client you are making above 15%. You are selling mutual fund, you are selling the fantastic, the best product or the best asset class on the earth, then in that case, show me a fund which is giving you a 15% plus return with taking large cap as a pre-portfolio, most of the majority of the portfolio being large cap, और ऐसा रिटर्न जनरेट करके दे रहा है. 8 साल से हम लोग ये फंड एक्चुअली रन कर रहे हैं. So this is the global crisis 2008, which we are showing. There's a European crisis, everything. Now you see this global crisis of 2008 and 2009. When I fell down, I fell less by 10%. ये 55-56% गिरा, मैं 46% गिरा. But when I come up at the time of recovery, I recover faster, at least a year before. इसको 2 साल लगा बेंचमार्क को पहुंचने में, और वही चीज को मुझे पहुंचने में 1 साल में कवर कर लिया. तो मैं कवर किया 1 साल में और ये कवर किया 2 साल में. Why? Because at this point of time, after falling down, it was the quality which did fantastically well. And then it was the value which fantastically did well in 2012 and 13. Because of that, you created those kind of a alpha. You will say, is it a passive fund? So no, it is not a passive fund. Is it an index fund? No, it is not an index fund. Is it similar to index fund? No, it is not similar to index fund. It is a highly actively managed funds. So you see my active ratio is between 75% to 85%, 88%. So on an average, it is 77% on an average. 77% of the portfolio is actively managed, 77%. And now you will tell me sector rotation का क्या करेंगे हम लोग. आप लोग बेकार में सेक्टर बेच रहे हो. लास्ट 2 साल से लगभग सेक्टर बेच रहा है. आज फार्मा बेच रहा है, कल पहले उसके 1 साल पहले आप लोग आईटी बेच रहे थे, उसके 2 साल पहले कोविड में फार्मा बेच रहे थे, एंड उसको अभी तक आप लोग वापस विजिट ही नहीं किया. पोर्टफोलियो को जो बेचा उसमें पैसा बना कि नहीं. कोई बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल्स बेच दिया 2021 में सस्ता है करके. आज भी बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल्स हैज नॉट मूव्ड एनीवेयर. सो the sector rotation happens automatically because of the stock changes. We were not focusing on sectors. We were focusing on the factors. कि value चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है. I'll give you an example. This is your, let us take industrials. So the light blue one. So this blue industrials, 2019, the government was not spending much. There were no industrials. 2020 COVID came and there was no private capex. The government had to come up and do a lot of expenditure, infra spend, industrial spend, infrastructure spend. So your industrial started moving up. वो railways को project देने लगे, highways बनाने लगे. All these government came with a massive capex which program, and that your industrial started moving. December 22, you look at the weight how it has got increased, and because it became expensive, 23 automatically the weight got reduced. So like this healthcare, if you want to take healthcare, it was December 2018. Healthcare was nowhere to be seen. It got capitulated in 2020. 2019, healthcare got capitulated. The value was so down. December 20, healthcare came. 21, it got expanded. 22, nahi chala. Fir वापस 23 पे healthcare ले आया. So all this sector rotation, switching of the funds, actively managing the client portfolio. You don't have to just do it. Put into one fund and the fund automatically takes care of the factors and automatically invest. वासन को क्या लगता है, बाला को क्या लगता है, सोनी को क्या लगता है, हमारा मार्केटिंग टीम डीपी साहब क्या बोलना चाहते हैं, आज हेल्थ केयर बेचो, फिर वो पढ़ना लेके आता है कि उसका आईटी बेचो. बेचते वक्त सब फंड बेचो, बट क्लाइंट से निकालते वक्त उसको क्लाइंट को सेल कॉल देना उस फंड का कोई एएमसी नहीं दिया, इंक्लूडिंग नहीं. 25 साल में आई हैव नॉट सीन इट. बट क्लाइंट के पोर्टफोलियो में डालते वक्त सब आके एग्रेसिवली बोल देता है कि डाल दो. In a sector fund, what happens is that you have to put it into that sector. You put it and then you forget it also. How can I remember when I am handling 3,000 clients in retail? मैं 2,500 क्लाइंट हूँ. मैं कोई फैमिली ऑफिस थोड़ी ना जो 3 फैमिली का 1,800 करोड़ का पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज कर रहा हूँ, 4,000 करोड़ का. आई एम मैनेजिंग 3,000 फंड. आज इसका एनएफओ आया था, उसका आया था, मैं तो रिटेल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के जैसे बेचते जा रहा हूँ. एंड द क्लाइंट का पोर्टफोलियो रिव्यू आई एम नॉट डूइंग इट. सो इन दिस केस the automatic review happens. The churning is very high. The churning will be 20% per month. It is beyond imagination. आपने सुना है क्या कोई फंड में 20% portfolio churn होगा every month? This is what this fund will do. And because of the high turnover, because of the actively switching from one factor to another factor. That is why it is called high beta and factor investing fund. And this is the future where most of the HNI clients have understood this, and they want that we don't want human intervention, because we will not get the decision right when to switch and when not to switch. And every time you switch, you pay to Nirmala Masi. Nirmala is not your aunt. She is not your Masi. She is not going to spare you. So on a very big portfolio, every time you don't like to paying 15 lakhs, 20 lakh rupees of taxation. There are huge underperformance in lot many schemes, but people invested 15 years back. Why they are not redeeming it? कि आज redeem किया 10 लाख डाला था, 2 करोड़ रुपया से ऊपर है. 1 करोड़ 90 लाख रुपया पे 12% का आपको टैक्स लग जाएगा. With tax, they don't want to sell it only. And they go through underperformance of 5 years. So you solve these two problems with a factor fund. Now over to you. I am done with everything. I am ready to take only 5 people in the call.
No, it's live.
5 panelists.
Yeah, these are 5 panelists only. We have this session is live on our broader channel. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll put a few questions while you have actually answered most of them. These are few which are still we can touch upon in detail for everybody's understanding. Yeah. So one part is what is the level of human intervention in this decision-making process, considering the fund is it relies on the quantitative models.
So the human intervention will be bare minimum. It is only the factor weights which a human intervention will be there. For example, we said like we created a formula. For example, we'll have always 25, 25, 25, and we will not change the weight until and unless one of the factor does not become 35 or one of the factor does not become 17. So either or the other thing has to happen. Either 25 has to touch 35 and एक factor बहुत पैसा बना दिया, or one factor has really gone down to 17. तो उसमें बहुत पैसा खो दिया आपने. So till the time either of the two weightage does not change it does not limit happens until the time we don't change the weight of the factor, there is almost zero intervention of the human one. And we put some filtration because of the liquidity issue. That is the human intervention which we have to do, because we have to ensure whichever stock we buy, I can buy that much quantity in a single day, and in a single day I have to sell that same thing in a single day. So that because of the liquidity into a particular stock or not, at times that human intervention can come in. For example, that is why is a good question. We have to restrict the fund to 4,000 crores only. We cannot have this fund as 10,000, 20,000 crores, because अगर 4,000 में 5% है, तो the fund has में मैंने वो stock में 200 करोड़ रुपया है. So 200 crores I have to sell in a single day. 200 crores I have to buy another stock in a single day. So the liquidity is the most important parameters, and that is where only you can say 5% will be a human intervention. 95% there is no human interventions. And we have seen in a block of 20 years, only 5 times the weight has changed. So अगर human intervention 20 साल में देखा, तो अपने सिर्फ 5 ही बार आया human intervention. 15 साल there was no human intervention. I'll give you an example, one more. Just give me 1 minute. I'll give you one more example to clarify this point. Okay. Sometimes the best of the fund manager misses the best of the stocks. For example, Trent. Trent was a fantastic company, but my fund manager bias came in and we ignored Trent completely. We never was a part of our active research also Trent. But when we run this particular portfolio on the quant basis, and we found that Trent is excellent. So because of human interventions, what happens is at times the best of the stock may get ignored. There were a lot of stocks which get ignored by SBI in last 2 years. But when we run this kind of a model, that automatically gets picked up. It also helps us in the other funds also to ensure, boss, Trent, we are not looking at it, but it is scoring very high. So what this matrix also does is tell the fund manager, if you have missed it out, don't miss it. The score ranking is very high. So there is actually there is no human intervention. It is the mathematic formula which runs.
Yeah, perfect. I think very apt answer. So I'll move to the next one. Will quant fund or model will be able to fetch higher return than normal active funds? I'm just putting an active word here.
Which I've already shown in that there is a On a 10 years basis, we have beaten the return by 5.5%. It's just not 5.5%, it is 33%. But try and understand, sir, between 2% compounding over 10 years is a huge difference. And 5% compounding over 10 years, people don't understand. With rule of 72, 14 साल में डबल हो जाएगा, तो नियरली 70-80% का रिटर्न का फर्क आ जाएगा. तो जहां आप 10 लाख बनाओगे वहां आप 18 लाख रुपए बनाओगे, इतना फर्क आ जाएगा 5% कंपाउंडिंग 10 years में.
Fantastic. Yeah. Moving to next one. We've seen few quant models failing in unforeseen scenarios. What is the likelihood of this particular model failing? Is there any?
So that is why we explained that we have been running this model for 20 years, 10 years of back testing, 8 years we have been running live. We are not going to make the portfolio once we collect the money. The portfolio is live today as we are talking. Already 33 stocks ka portfolio running hai for last 8 years. And this is the live return which we have done. The only thing is actual client se paisa leke humne nahi dala. Baki, we assume that it was a 4,000 crores and we are running it live for last 8 years and we have tested for 8 years. Oh, sorry, we back tested for 10 years. So we have tested almost for 20 years before we launched it to give that confidence to the client. We have tested 20 years, number one. Number two, there are a lot of quant models which we have seen that they are failing because these all were single factor funds. So in a single factor fund, I'm just telling you, this single factor does not give you an option to move to any other factors. So that is why you will go through a lean period again. So that's why a single factor fund does not make sense. You should always have multiple factor. You all can Google it out. You can go to ChatGPT and say US mein which factor funds works, which factor funds does not works. You will get this results. I've already done that. If you want, I can share you the results, sir. So big AMCs like BlackRock of US, Vanguard, they all are working on multiple factor funds. Single factor has not worked anywhere in the world.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so this is one general question. How deployment of funds considering market volatility in coming 3-4 months? Probably he's trying to understand how it would get deployed and how much time.
This is excellent question. We will deploy the money today. We are running the portfolio live. We have everything 33 stocks live. I am not saying anything कि ये हम 6 महीने में डालेंगे, false promise, आज हम portfolio नहीं बनाएंगे, आप पैसा बनाओ. See, this portfolio is nearly 75-78% large cap. Today, the large cap valuation, if I see, it is nearly the long-term PE average of 22. So the long-term average of PE large cap is 22. We are nearly just 22 plus minus 2 bips or 4 bips here and there. So we are at fair valuation. By the time we deploy money, it will be 22nd of December. So आज भी 20-25 दिन है. तो जो भी correction है with Christmas timing, FIs को बेचना है, so they generally sell before 20th, they close their books and they go off for a holiday. So जो भी और selling आना है, we will see next 10-15 days. So large cap, there is not a problem. The problem is in more on the mid cap side and a small cap side. So there's the froth which is there on valuation side. The froth still is there. I do not deny the fact. We are saying it is on the mid cap side and it is on the small cap side. So this portfolio predominantly will be on the larger cap side, where 75% to 85% will be large cap and 15 to 20% will be only the thing. So I forgot to tell you, mention the universe is BSE 200, top 100 large cap, top 100 mid cap, but the portfolio is skewed towards large cap. Imagine with a large cap of 80%, we are beating 90% of large cap funds, large and mid cap funds, flexi cap funds, multi cap funds, and 40 to 50% of the pure mid cap funds also. We're taking 80% just large cap, whereas people thought that large cap kuch karta hi nahi hai valuation mein. With large cap also, if the timing is right, we make a lot of wealth generation. It will be a very low volatility and it's a low risk fund.
Gaurav, I stop here in terms of questions that we have received from partners, because like I said, you have already answered most of the things that we anticipated as questions. So truly appreciate your time and the passion and energy that you bring in.
No, I'll be happy to meet you in person, sir, and I can give you 20-25 interesting topics which I suggest that you should do for your partners. एक सिपोथॉन करो, एक SIP पे and retirement पे, wherein make your partners believe that they can sell 1 lakh rupees SIP. The thing is that हम लोग 20 साल से partners है, तो we still in the mindset of selling 5,000 and 10,000 rupees, and if we get 20,000 SIP, we think we have won a gold medal. But I tell you, a friend of mine came from US, had no clue about mutual fund. He joined as a mutual fund distributor in last 2 years and said that the minimum SIP you can sell in India is of 1 lakh rupees. And trust me, the way he is doing it, वो 7.5 लाख का SIP लाता है, 5 लाख का आता है, 3 लाख का आ रहा है. What I understood, it is a mindset game. It is a people
Gaurav, I think we're losing his signal while he was making a very, very valid point regarding getting the SIPs on the larger format, friends. So I must say, beginning, whenever it has to happen, it should happen immediately rather than thinking or deciding that we'll do it after 1 month, 1 day, 1 week, or 1 year. So when Gaurav has concluded, incidentally, because of technical reason, I would have really enjoyed having him for a little longer period. The point that he concluded with, let's use that as an opportunity to get the SIPs at larger volume side so that your investors and clients can actually enjoy or the reap benefits of this product itself, which sounds really interesting. And believe me, the concept which is there is a combination which we all heard about it, and it is combining four different methods of investing. So I'll just conclude by giving one example of related to this quant fund. Generally, as an investor, when we look at it, we talk about large cap, mid cap, small cap, or so many other different capitalization side, or we talk about uh, IT sector, pharma sector, or financial services, etc., etc. While the fund manager, who is actually managing the money, looks at it in a different perspective, which is what Gaurav explained. They look at it as value, quality, growth, momentum. For them, approach the mirror or the glass through which they are seeing is different. So now this fund actually gives a combination of all four types of investing or the styles of investing, or in Gaurav's word, factors of investing. So the four factor investing model combined into one bundle. So sometimes one model is working, sometimes other model is working, will be something which is possible for all to see here in this particular product portfolio. So I'm sure Gaurav's last point will be heard and implemented by many of our partners and investors. We look forward to having a successful investing journey for all. With this, we like to say thanks to Gaurav and Kunal from SBI for their time and the passion which Gaurav has brought in. I'm sure we all will benefit from it by giving sufficient satisfaction to investors who would want to have long-term investing period for their money invested and staying longer for a longer period. With this, we conclude our discussion for now and look forward to a lot of engagement on ground between our team and all our partners. Gaurav, once again, thank you so much. I hope you are able to listen. Um, it seems there is some technical difficulty. Anyways, so with this, friends, we conclude now and look forward to seeing you in person through web calls and a lot of engagement on ground regarding this product. And as Gaurav said, many other training sessions soon to have with him on various topics which are interesting equally. Thanks. We conclude now.